This is the ABQ Business Podcast with your host, Jason Rigby. Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit that's in every entrepreneur. Discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems, and the problems we can all solve together for a new future for local small business.
Guys, kind of want to get a little personal today, if you don't mind. I want to talk about relationships. I learned something, and I always learn, and you know, this isn't me coming up with this. It's me learning and teaching, and then teaching and learning. But Katie and Gay Hendricks, and you can go to heartsandtrueharmony.com. So I want to put that out there. They always have amazing teachings. And there's something about reasons why that I love. I love to know the reason why. And I think that's how we become self-aware. That's how we learn more, you know. And so I ask why. And when it comes to relationships, we all know that we find these certain people that we're attracted to. We find that same type of person, the same type of dynamic of this, you know, like they always say, you know, if you're a girl, you're attracted to bad guys, and then they hurt you and they cheat on you, and you go on their phones and you're finding out that they got pictures of other girls, and the list goes on and on. Or maybe you're a guy and you're attracted to women that are lazy and just steal all your money all the time, and you know, the list goes on and on. We all have that weirdness thing going on. On a personal note, a lot of you know I'm single. But on a personal note, I used to be attracted to women that needed help, you know, because I'm more of a teacher type. And then, you know, that is like, oh, okay, yeah, I can help you. Oh, yeah, okay, well, let's, you know, go back and forth and talk a gazillion times and, you know, let me help you. And that a lot of times didn't work. And the reason why is because in a relationship, you have to be an equal. So if there's someone that feels like myself, feeling like I'm the teacher and you're the student, after a while that gets annoying to the woman. And then, you know, in the beginning it's good because you're helping into a situation. But okay, enough about me. I want to talk about the real reason, the number one reason for relationship failure. And this is what Katie and Gay Hendricks talk about. And a lot of times we don't understand exactly what is causing this, and we're like, why are people rejecting me? Or why is my relationship keep falling apart? Why am I worrying about that? You know, why do I have this worry that my relationship's going to go bye-bye, and then I get this needy behavior, and then ultimately I push that person away? And it's just this nightmare scenario that can happen over and over and over again. I see that, especially with you ladies. You'll get like a disjealous streak or whatever with the guy, and then, you know, the guy's actually being cool, and then not all of them. I know there's douchebags out there. We know that, ladies. But the guy's actually being cool, not cheating, not doing anything, and then you're just accusing him all the time. So finally he's like pissed off and says, fuck it, and then, you know, texts an old girl or whatever, and then, you know, and then it's off to the races. But, you know, there's always this part of being, am I happy in my relationship? Am I not happy? You know, I know somebody right now that's in a relationship that's literally fighting all the time. They're just constantly fighting. And I don't know. It's like, how can you deal with that? How could you be that stressed out? Or, you know, I'll talk to one of my friends and it's like, he cheated or she cheated. Or maybe, you know, and so I had to break up and we're done. Or one is, you know, super jealousy, being super possessive. Have you ever seen that where you just see the couple and they never can hang out with their friends? They always have to hang out together. Or, you know, we couldn't talk. We didn't know how to communicate properly. My favorite one, which is so generic and stupid, is, oh, well, we broke up because we were incompatible. What the hell does that mean? I mean, in all honesty, think about it, guys. We're incompatible. What does incompatible mean? You know, if you can articulate that out and explain that out. Yeah, he likes to, you know, like for me, I like to work a lot. So there's a lot of incompatibility with there. If I'm going to be with someone, they need to be independent and need to be working a lot too, or at least be able to not be needy. because I can't deal with that. That's my one deal breaker. You start acting needy, I'm out. Or, this is a good one too. Well, Susan, or well, this is like two Karens. Okay, Karen, we just grew apart. See, these are all just like excuses for being generic. And one of the things that is huge, and I want you guys to get this. When your relationship gets that bad that you think you're better off with someone else, then I want you to pay attention to this. And maybe some of you that listen to this, because I get thousands of people that listen to this every week. And so that's why I wanted to do this one, because I've been hearing a lot of this post-COVID breakups. And so, and I had been hearing this from a lot of friends and family and different people. And so I figured, let me get into this, because this is something I have been working on personally. And so anything I'm working on personally, I always like to just share with you guys. But you need to pay close attention, because there is a common denominator in all of your relationships you've ever had in your life. 41% of first marriages end in divorce, 60% of second marriages end in divorce, and 73% of third marriages end in divorce. Well, wouldn't you think like the third time out, we would learn over that many years, 20, 30 years, that we would pick someone that would be better for us? Don't you think that we would have learned by then? We would be self-aware enough to pick the better person, but that's not the case. When people break up and maybe they don't get married, but they live together, it seems to be a pattern. So if it's a pattern and I'm going to be self-aware about it, then it has to deal with me, not with them, because I'm picking the same person over and over again that I'm attracted to, and I'm stuck in this crazy insanity loop. Remember what Albert Einstein said? My favorite quote, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different results is insanity. We're living in this relationship insanity shit loop. That's what I like to call it, because that's what it is. Going from the same relationship to the same relationship to the same relationship. And this is what I love about these guys in their teachings and training. And I'll put the links so that you guys can. This is an older couple that's been together forever, and they do relationship training. They said this. The answer is that it's not about the partner you choose. It's about the person you take with you. And that's you. I'm going to say that again. There's light bulbs coming on right now. The answer is that it's not about the partner you choose. It's about the person you take with you. And that's you. Because what they talk about here is you bring issues from relationship to relationships, means you'll go on to recreate unhappy circumstances with someone else. The same bullshit that you dealt with Bill or Susan or Jim or whoever is going to be the same shit that you're going to take to the next person. A different person's not going to fix this problem. And the biggest issue is we all bring that one thing into each relationship. And the reason that we fail at relationships, the number one reason is a word. And I'm going to talk about this. We're going to get into this. I want you guys to listen to this. This is a big word, and I want you guys to go on Google, and I want you guys to read articles about this and study it out. It'll be revelatory for you. That word is self-abandonment. So what is self-abandonment, and how does this start in your relationship? Let's get into this. Self-abandonment is what happens to you when you make someone else responsible for your feelings and sense of self-worth. You pour your life into them, and you make them responsible. You're like, you need to make me feel loved, and you need to make me feel happy. You're essentially looking to someone outside of you to take away your uncomfortable feelings and make you feel okay. And how does this start? Well, it starts in childhood. You come into life being selfish. All babies, I always say this, all babies are extremely selfish. They're just so cute. We love them. But a baby will let you know when they have any type of discomfort. And they expect to be attended to. If they don't, they throw a huge fit, right? We expect to be loved. But then as we get older from being a toddler, we realize that our aunts, our uncles, our grandparents, our parents, our teachers, our mentors, They didn't know how to love properly because they're a human, and no one can be 100% perfect. So this beautiful picture of love, this selfish picture of what we appear to think that love is, begins to be jarred, and it begins to crack this beautiful stained glass of art that we think would make us happy by that person loving us. And we begin to realize that these people didn't know how to love because they were hurting just as much as we're hurting. And that they were limited in their ability. And that we put that reflection of them hurting us by not loving us rightly. And then we blamed ourselves in that. And then we made it about us when it was really about them in the way that they had to learn to love. And that whether or not someone loved you and cared for you was no reflection of your self-worth. Let me say that again. Whether or not that person loved you right or cared for you wrongly or rightly is no reflection on your self-worth. Because what happens is our confidence begins to wane when we face rejection. So self-abandonment is the ultimate form of rejection. And no one likes to be rejected. That's why only like a small percentage of the population does sales. Some of you guys hate sales. You have businesses and you hate to do the sales part because you hate the rejection. And then when you get rejected, subconsciously it brings up self-abandonment issues. Or if you're in sales, you could be super narcissistic and maybe you like rejection because it brings out some weird thing in you. Or maybe you've actually have healed from all this and you understand what rejection has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with that person's reality and what they're thinking at their time, because who they are is their reality. What they think, there's no idea what you can think in that person's brain. And I'm going to prove it right now in a crazy analogy. I had a friend of mine, he absolutely in love with this girl. They had been together for about 1.5 years. And he came to me one day and he was like, Jason, I am so in love with her. We had sex last night. It was so amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was the best ever. We were looking to each other's eyes and, I was just showing her that I loved her and she was showing me she loved me. And literally an hour after he told me that, she'd sent a breakup text to him. And he was devastated. Absolutely devastated. Why? Because in his mind at that time, he was looking into her eyes and thinking that she was loving him and he was loving her and it was amazing. But you know what she was doing? She was doing the goodbye, let's have sex one last time and let me make it good. And she looked in his eyes knowing that she was going to have freedom. And she had been talking to somebody else already and had been sleeping with that other person. And so she used that as the last night. And his reality was she was looking into his eyes in adoration and love, and they were going to take it to the next step because it was so beautiful. Her reality that he could not read in her brain was, this is it, I'm done, and let's end it in a good way on a beautiful, perfect farewell. You see how we don't know what people are thinking? We don't know what their reality is. Neither can we judge that. That is their hero's journey to live. It is their road and mistakes. We all make mistakes. That's why I love the story in the Bible where they were going to, the woman that they were accusing, these real religious people were accusing this girl, and they were calling her that she was a whore and all this stuff, prostitute and all that. And Jesus looked at him and he drew a line in the sand and he said, cross this line. And who crosses this line is going to be someone who has never made a mistake, who has not sinned. You can cross that line, then you have a right to judge her. And then he looked at her and he told her to sin no more. She had a second chance. And that's something that we all need to do. When you understand that that person is going through their own reality and they're learning in their own way, and you let them be free to do that, and that is just a person that you've evolved and learned through, and that can help you learn to love and see the mistakes that are inside of you, that they can teach you that. A bad relationship can teach you way more than a good, if you allow it and let it. And that you getting emotional towards that other person is you presuming what their reality is. You're not responsible for them and their emotions, and they're not responsible for yours. I hope this is helping some of you. I think I want to explain this a little bit better. If you have self-abandonment issues, a lot of times you will blame or conclude that there must be something wrong with you, and that was the reason that they didn't love you. Secretly, you may mask it, be sarcastic, whatever. We all do different things. But secretly, down deep inside, you think something's wrong with you. And since you think something's wrong with you, I want you to get this. Because you deep down inside feel something is wrong with you, you're going to search for love and acceptance. What you feel is love and this false sense of acceptance. And you want to prevent the pain of self-abandonment. You want to prevent the pain of that hurt that other people have given you when they didn't meet your expectations of your reality of what you feel love is. No human, no person can provide the type of love that you want 100% of the time, all the time. That is an unrealistic expectation. And when you don't feel love, and then you decide that something is wrong with you, then you get these uncomfortable feelings inside. I get depression and anxiety and emptiness and anger. Dudes will do it in anger or depression. They'll get anxious, pissed off. Women will get depressed and feel empty. Don't know where to go, call their friends and gossip about their man, woman, whatever it may be, partner. These are huge feelings that come inside of you. They overwhelm you, and you don't know how to handle it. It's almost like this ancient feeling that's inside of you that you've experienced since you were born. And it just becomes an overwhelming feeling, and you're like, what do I need to do? Well, let me explain it this way. There were two things that you did so that you would get love and acceptance in your life. These are two things that you do. You either rebel or you conform. Those are two ways that you get attention and love. Rebel or conform. Think about that. So in this moment, you're looking for this perfect partner. You're looking for someone to give you perfect love that all these other people could never give you. And that if this person will just give you this perfect love that you've envisioned, then you'll feel fine. You'll be okay. Life will be beautiful. It's Cinderella. But you know that belief that you have in you, it is going to cause you to behave in extremely destructive ways. Because your self-abandonment for your feelings gives you an urgency of, I need you to appease me. I need you to give me what I need of love. Instead of looking at it and say, what am I not giving of myself? How do I learn to love myself and to let all the other baggage go? How do I learn to give to myself and not need anyone to love me for me to be 100% complete? You say, Jason, that sounds horrific. We all need love. Yes, you do need love, but you need two people that completely love themselves. Then they can learn to understand and know what love is. You take two dysfunctional people and they're arguing over how you can love me and how I can feel amazing. I need you to do this. No, I need you to do this. Now you have two people just running around doing tasks to try to make each other feel like they're loved. So then one of the persons is pissed off or angry or doesn't really want to be with the other person because they're making them do so much shit. And the other person, guess what? It feels like they're walking on eggshells. Some of you are like that right now in your relationship. And some of you, because you don't know what to do and you're in this situation, you go into control mode. And control can be a lot of different ways. I've talked about this before in the podcast. Control can show up in the form of being overly nice and accommodating. Or it can be in being possessive and hypervigilant. You can be, oh, I'm going to take extra care of you, and I'm going to make you this amazing meal, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do all these things for you. And then I expect, here we go. This is selfish, not selfless. Then I expect you to do this, this, and this. Or you'll hear this conversation. I see this with parents doing guilt tripping their kids. I've done all this stuff for you, and here you've done this to me. That's not love. Selfless love is just giving. Because if you 100% love yourself and you really don't need that other person in your life, you're choosing to have them in your life to partner with you, then you can have 100% of what is complete. And you are that. You don't need someone to do something for you to make you happy. If somebody does something for you when you're 100% complete, then you can just be truly grateful for that selfless act. And then you can do selfless acts with expecting absolutely nothing in return. So some of you are overly nice and accommodating, and then some of you are extremely possessive. So you go into control mode. I need to check his phone or her phone. I need to, I'm going to go and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to make sure this person, and locations have to be on or off. And it just goes, it makes people crazy. Some of you are addicted to that. You love drama, and you're addicted to all that because that's the only way that your crazy brain in this fight or flight stage knows how to operate. So you actually seek that and sabotage your relationships, and you put that in there on purpose. People will cheat on purpose just to create drama in the relationship. And you know what's happening with all of this? It boils down to this, guys. You're just trying to make sure the other person doesn't reject you. And you think by doing all these things that you won't experience all the feelings that go along with believing you're not lovable. So you're going to be controlling, or you're going to be overly nice, or you're going to be accommodating. Are you going to guilt trip them or not talk to them for 2 days or whatever it is, just so that you won't experience all those feelings about I'm unlovable? And here's what happens when you get two people together who haven't healed through their self-abandonment. We all know that we attract like. So like attracts like. So you attract according to your level of self-abandonment and self-love. Therefore, in a troubled relationship, you have both people who have unhealed self-abandonment, and then those problems stand out of control on both sides. So a lot of these things that I'm talking about are familiar patterns in your relationship. So in trying to get love and avoid pain, both partners will engage in a variety of controlling behaviors that can inevitably lead to fighting, disconnection, and infidelity. And I'm reading this from, like I told you before, this is with Katie and Gay Hendricks, heartsandtrueharmony.com. So this is coming from their teachings. So what is going on is we're looking for this healing, but in actuality, we're not willing to engage in that conversation. And so we just do the same pattern of fighting. We disconnect because we're worried about getting hurt. And then somebody does something wrong, or they leave or whatever it may be. As each partner tries to get love from the other, they end up pushing each other away, creating even more anxiety, emptiness, and anger. So, because we're trying to get love. So we're feeling abandoned. We're feeling rejected. I need love. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to go into this and this and this, and then this person's reacting and doing this and this and this, and then they're feeling abandonment issues. So the most important thing you can do is learn how to create your own sense of worth, rather than giving that power to someone else. You don't have to give your power to your partner. When you make somebody responsible for making you feel okay, you put an impossible burden on them. I want you to listen to that. When you, whether you tune me out for the last few minutes, because we all do that in podcasts, I want you to listen to this part. When you make your partner responsible for making you feel okay, you place an impossible burden on them. They cannot take away all your uncomfortable feelings. And if you put that burden on them, they're going to feel pressured, smothered, and controlled. They may not be able to articulate that to you, but that's what they're feeling. And even if your partner truly, selflessly tried to love you, there's nowhere for that love to land. Because if you don't love yourself first, you cannot receive love from someone else because you won't feel worthy of it. Even though you desperately want it, you still can't handle it because you don't feel worthy of it. Your love for you is the foundation for any love that you receive. It is the foundation that causes you to be able to love. The love for you. You have to figure that out first. So how do you heal from that? Well, we know if you're disconnected from yourself, then how can you connect with anyone else, right? That makes sense. That's logical. And then if we can't love ourselves, then how can we share love with others? So you're the only person that can make you feel okay. So now it's time to take, and I talk about this all the time, guys, don't tune me out on this. Now it's time to take 100% responsibility for your feelings. It's time to take 100% responsibility for you to make your job to feel good. You got to take the pressure off your partner. You need to have a conversation with them about this or have them listen to this podcast. And you both need to say to each other, it is our responsibility to make ourselves feel loved. And I'm taking everything off of you right now. And when I feel unloved, I want you to call me out because especially if you haven't done anything wrong, I need you to call me out because this is an issue that I need to face inside of myself. Have that conversation. Watch how amazing that goes. Because when your need for not getting rejected, when your need for control goes away and disappears, all those problems that you had begins to melt away. It is a process of healing, guys, and it's going to take time. And if you have someone that you love and they have that issue and you have that issue, it's perfect time for you guys to get together, talk about this openly, be self-aware with each other and say, hey, we've been doing this. Let's break this shit pattern. And I love you and I want to be with you for the rest of my life. And so let's talk about this. Let's do this. Let's work on this together. It is for you to understand that you operating out of neediness and control will cause you to go to that next relationship again and again and again and again. Total self-love will create a healthy relationship. And when you learn to fill yourself up with love, when you learn to create your own sense of worth, when you begin to operate in the passion of what you were put here on this earth to do, magical things begin to happen. Because when you begin to feel amazing, when you're at a 10 in your life, you want to share that with your partner. You're not in a state of control and neediness. You just want to give because there's just so much abundance inside of you. And when that other person begins to see this change you, it makes them want to change. It makes them love you more. Or maybe they're like, I can't handle this. I'm out. And then it will reveal what type of relationship you really had. And that can be scary, guys. Because maybe that person's not for you. Maybe you learn to love yourself and they can't love themselves and you're evolving and it's time to be done. And that hurts. But it's an opportunity to heal. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to take responsibility for who you are and what you can become. I know this is kind of like deep, and I have an ABQ business podcast. But you guys know I'm crazy anyways, and I talk about all kinds of things. And it's something that I have been working on for years now. And it's something that I wanted you guys to learn. And I encourage you. They have there's books out there. There's one that they have, Wildly, Deeply, Joyously in Love by Margaret Paul. You can, like I said, you can get Katie and Gay Hendricks, Hearts in Harmony, heartsintrueharmony.com. If you want to learn more, they have programs and books and stuff you can buy. And I love that if you can take a book and then you guys each read a chapter and then take, say, Sunday evenings at 7:00, we're going to have dinner. We're going to get Uber Eats or something. And then we're going to talk about the chapter we read for the week. And this is what it means to me. And this is what it means to you. And then you guys can work through things together. It creates an amazing relationship. So I encourage you guys to do that. If you have any questions with any of this, please don't hesitate to DM me. If you know somebody that's experiencing hurt in their relationship, I encourage you to share this podcast with them. Let me know if you need more resources in this. I can send you some more links. I want to share things that I'm learning and that I learn from others, because that's what life is. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And thank you for being a part of the ABQ Business Podcast.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share, and go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.